All right. I wanted to press record because like 3 topics have come up. I'm excited about all of them. And I was like, I want to get started. Which one's
I'd
first?
say we lead the way with the most relevant one, which is the lightning strike.
That's not even one of the ones it was.
I was interested when you sent the text because I was like, "That's how lightning works."
Dude, I didn't know. So like, it started off this way. I was awake. It was pretty late, and I don't know how to put this into words, but we have blackout curtains. And the lightning strike was super loud, and it seemed like the echo came from further away than the lightning strike did. Like, it was backwards of what you'd expect. Like, the lightning was here. And I didn't know that we had been struck by lightning yet. And like I said, we have blackout curtains, yet I felt like I saw it. Like, lightning was stronger than blackout curtains somehow. Like, I saw through it because I was awake, and I was like looking outside. It wasn't like horribly raining or anything. It wasn't even terribly windy. Just out of nowhere, crack! My whole world thundered, and like so like an idiot. 'Cause I moonlight as an idiot, I guess. I go outside to see the damage, but I wanted to know. Like, I care about my house. I want to see what's up. There could be a tree smoldering or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't find any damage. I couldn't find any damage anywhere. I sort of checked the guest house. I went around, but the start of the electrical stuff like had just started to blossom. I looked at I don't know. So I was outside already. I'm like running the pool filter, like making it better every day, and it was off. But I'm worried there's going to be another crack of lightning. So I just like, all right, it's off. You know what? I'm going to deal with this tomorrow. I go back upstairs and the internet's out. And I'm like, all right, so I guess that's a thing. I have since discovered that the power supply to our like optical modem thing, you know, I have gigabit, right? So it's fiber. The power supply to that went bad. Whatever, it also supplies like the outside of the house, wherever the optical plugs into the house power. That thing needed replacing. The network attached storage needed replacing. An Xbox One needs replacing. Like the home theater thing that does the surround sound in our living room, it needs replacing.
Oh, that sucks.
Yes. I feel like the list is longer. The switch, so I have a switch, but it's like a commercial switch that does power over Ethernet. And I just want to mute this site so it doesn't make noise. Sorry. So everyone knows Ethernet, right? It delivers your internet connection everywhere. Well, you can also get some that deliver power, which is nice because if you have like security cameras or in my case, wireless access points like the Wi-Fi, you don't have to run extra power cables. You can just run an Ethernet cable to it and it gets power from there. Well, that thing went bad and I didn't have another one like on hand to replace it with, so we're sort of limping by. Where the Ethernet cable connected from that switch to the switch here in my office, that port went bad, but only that port. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'll just live with that for the short term and have another one. Today, I got to the show early to test things, and the rest of that switch went bad. So I've got another switch just laying on the floor that I'm using. Anyway, the list goes on. Today while mowing, I discovered the base of my tree seems to have been hit. Like out of nowhere, it didn't look burnt like I expected it to be, so it might not even be related to the lightning strike, but there's like a 2-foot hole and bark missing from the side of the tree. And I'm like, maybe that was the lightning. I don't know. I'll have to take a picture for you guys. But yeah, it seems like every day there's a new thing. Oh, and by the way, my shit wasn't plugged to the wall. Like, I have these like APC, American Power Company, like uninterruptible battery backup supplies and surge protectors. And in some cases, that surge protector battery backup connects to another surge protector and shit still broke. I talked to the AT&T guy about it, and he's like, yeah, I haven't seen anything that stops lightning from doing what it wants to do yet. I don't know.
So surge protectors are a lie?
Apparently, in some cases, double surge protectors are a lie, it would seem.
That's blowing
my mind.
What
you need is a lightning rod.
I guess.
Yeah, you can get that now.
I have a lightning rod. I know that I do. I've seen it. Maybe lightning rods are a lie? I don't know. But
I put a lightning rod in already. I at like 3 a.m, I climbed up a nearby neighbor's tree and taped a 9-iron to it. And they have no idea. So any strikes in the area are going to be
right over
a few
there.
houses down. Yeah.
Fuck
Can
you,
you
Mr.
imagine
Jackson.
the piece of shit you'd be if they're like, they discovered the source of the fire was a 9-iron duct taped to the tree. Neighbors deny knowing anything of it.
That's what happened in Notre Dame. Yeah. That's exactly what it was. A 9-iron. Yeah,
every so often, my picture freezes, and I'm sitting here. Like, is this related to the lightning strike?
Yep.
It might be.
It's all lightning related.
I don't know.
2 years from now, the audio is going to be all fucked up, and he's like, that lightning strike back in 2019.
It happened just now. Or maybe it's Discord. I'll have to look and see.
You're looking and sounding good on our end.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
Well, then it's genetics. I do look and sound good. Anyway, I don't know what's the issue with. It's not bad. It's just every so often the video only seems to freeze. It hasn't done it in a bit. I don't know. I hope it's great. This is good. Maybe I'll give me something to test before PKA. A new.
Yeah.
Well, when you sent the lightning text, like my first thought was like, number one, I didn't know lightning could do that. Being a naive retard, I suppose, I thought surge protectors meant like any amount of surge, we got it. Nothing's going to get damaged. Number two, I was like, oh, this is a whole new thing about owning a house I never considered. Like, what if I get struck by lightning? And it's probably putting you out thousands of dollars to replace all this shit, right? Or
yes,
unless,
except APC, the uninterruptible power supplies that they were plugged into, has a guarantee. So I might be calling them. At first, I was like, you know what? For $400, it's not even worth my trouble.
Well, I mean, what's the deductible on your homeowner's insurance?
I don't know that either. These are all things I should look into because it is adding up to be like, it's not 5 digits, but it's into the 4s. Like it might be $2 or $3 grand.
This is how my dad leapfrogged his way through televisions for like nearly 2 decades.
Really?
Like he had an incredibly expensive TV in 1986, right? One of those gigantic boxes that $12,000 or something stupid. And lightning hits the motherfucker. And well, we don't make that model anymore. It doesn't exist anymore. So they had to buy the modern equivalent of it to replace it. And so they paid for that. And that happened 3 times in sequence, perfectly spaced through I was like, Dad, you can tell me if something's going on here. I'll keep it secret.
Is it you or God that needs a new TV?
But see, Kyle, what I do is I open the window behind it and I tape a 9-iron. Right?
I knew you were going there.
Yeah,
that is really funny. They must have been suspicious by the end, where they're like, "Sir, every 4.5 years, and frankly, we've noticed it's when a new kind of resolution comes around."
It seems to be tied into just before the Super Bowl. Your TV is ruined.
I mean, you filed last year for an LED. Now you want a ULED.
like I go back, like we watch those VHS,
QLED, whatever it is.
VHS like Christmas and like holiday and birthday videos that were shot when I was like 4, 5, 8, 10. And always in the background is this huge fucking TV that's way out of place for the early 90s. Not many people. But yeah, it was always very fortunate that lightning would always hit. And like the deductible would be like $1,000 or something like that. And it's like, well, new TV time. It just worked out well. So, Taylor, as the resident hockey expert on our show.
Nope. No, I'm passing that crown off to you. You picked the right thing. As soon as the playoffs start, let me know.
For people who don't, I chose Tampa Bay to win it all. I have them winning the cup.
Everyone picked Tampa Bay. The NHL released the stats. Millions of people enter, tens of millions every year for their win 10 grand in a box for 10 games or whatever the fuck. They released who has the possibility to still get their bracket correct. One person at this point might,
Kyle.
And that might be Kyle. Kyle even took Columbus in a sweep. Kyle literally might be the only person other than one guy on our hockey who was like, "Hey, idiots, look who called it." You and that guy are the only 2 people, and I'm blown away by it. I cannot believe it's gone this way.
I haven't paid attention at all. I just get people on Discord occasionally message me, and they're like, "How did you do it?" They're like, your bracket's looking really good.
And this isn't like if you're not a hockey, like you don't know that much about hockey, so you may be like, oh, this is kind of like the 28-3 game, or this is kind of like when the Warriors they were up 3-1 and they came back. No, this is arguably the biggest upset in the Made for Sports history. The Tampa Bay Lightning won 62 games. Only 2 teams have ever done that. 62 games. They had a guy with 128 points, the best season since like fucking Yzerman was playing in the mid 90s. This team was a titan. Everybody was like, cup or bust. If these guys do anything, if they win 15 games, but they can't win that 16th to secure the cup, total bust. They're going to trounce everybody. They got an easy walk there. Their main guy didn't even score. And he got suspended one of the games because he got so pissy that he checked some dude's head into the boards. Like the guy pissed him off and fell down on his knees. And instead of letting the guy stand up, he took his stick and kind of reorganized the guy's teeth up against the side of the
puck.
Yeah,
Lithuanian left wing tackle.
Well, I mean, it's Kucherov, so you're not that far off.
Can we talk about the Ovechkin fight?
It was great.
I liked that fight, and let me say why I give Ovechkin some credence on this.
Okay,
he's known as a guy who throws big hits and will stand up for himself, but he never picks fights because he is a guy. This is, I think, the 3rd or 4th fight of his entire career. Because when you're the best goal scorer in NHL history, the other team can, if they know that you're easy to bait, they're just going to go, oh, fight Ovechkin. Yeah, let's take him out of the game for 5 minutes. And so he never fights. And this guy had been chipping at him. Nothing over the top dirty, just normal playoff hockey stuff. And he rang the Ovechkin doorbell, and he didn't like who came to the door.
I see it a little differently.
Ovechkin threw the gloves off first.
Mm-hmm. Ovechkin threw the gloves off first. Ovechkin initiated this fight, regardless of what that person Taylor just told you. And the guy that Ovechkin finally decides to fight is this child. He's 19 years old. Like in an NHL playoff game for some reason. And Ovechkin beats the fuck out of him. He's in concussion emergency protocol right now. And it's like, Ovechkin, you go your whole year to standing up for yourself, supposedly, but not really, because you don't get in fights. And then when this kid does normal playoff hockey things and bumps you or something, you decide to dismantle him.
Destroy that fucking child.
I would be beating up kids with Down syndrome to draw a parallel. Why did you destroy that child, Ovechkin?
Now, if that were a sport, that's a bracket that I'd win at every fucking season.
We would all do great. Another funny thing about it.
Potato Bowl.
What was it? It was his name. Tater Bowl.
Don't be mean.
This year's Idaho Potato Bowl.
They're sponsored by Idaho Potatoes.
Ovechkin picked on a child.
Brought to you by Spuds and Play-Doh. Yeah.
And he sent him unconscious, and it just seemed immoral to me. That kind of mismatch. He didn't
rag on him too bad though. Like part of it, like he got him with 2 standard punches, and it really was. You watch enough hockey fights to know how rare it is that one connects so directly that they actually get like fencing response knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and another thing to keep in account is Soshnikov or whatever the guy's name is. He plays for the Canes. Maybe what was his name? Woody?
I don't know. Oh. Yeah, it is. It's not
something
a normal
off.
Name. Yeah,
he's a Russian guy, and he's like 19, and so this guy grew up his whole life in Russia, being like, someday I will be like my great hero Ovechkin. I certainly won't, in one of my first 100 games, be knocked unconscious by him brutally, embarrassingly.
Dude,
so I had no problem with the fight up until the last part, where it seemed to me like. So I don't know much about the sport or what it's like to be on ice skates because I've only done it like 3 times in my life. But I have to imagine that this Ovechkin character has a bit of experience on the ice and on ice skates, and he would be capable of letting this guy fall easily. And what I mean by that is not driving him with his forearm on the guy's chest, still gripping the jersey, back of his head into the fucking ice, which I do know is harder than fucking concrete.
It is,
because when I was learning to skate, when I got home, my ass was literally black and blue from falling on the ice.
Dude, ice is really hard.
So hard.
It's hard to say harder than concrete, but it might be something about ice is really hard. So
I need to watch the clip again because maybe I am
And the
not
announcer,
remembering
the
how
announcer was like,
intense
and I don't. Oh, that was dirty. Oh, shame on you, sir. That was dirty. I like to see the fights as much as anyone, but the way he drove him into the ice head first, that is dirty, and I don't care for it. And then
That's
they show
also the
re-
Carolina announcer.
Yeah,
that
but I
guy
watched the
was on
replay.
target.
I
But
watched the
also,
replay
like,
and I was like, dude, the
unless
back
you've
of his
been
head.
unless you've been in an altercation, like I watched it here, and like when you're holding on to someone and they start falling away from you on ice and you're on skates, there's not a lot you can do.
Oh,
like, you're
yes.
kind of falling with
Ovechkin
them.
was
You
just
either
powerless not
fall
to
with
drive
them
the
or
back
you-
of his head into the ground.
I don't see
Ovechkin could
him
not
driving the
have
back of
done
his head.
anything.
Let's watch it.
Okay,
Is there a link?
Yeah, I'm linking it to you right now.
Man, he is knocked the fuck out.
This
And
is
those Hurricanes jerseys are great. They need to switch to those.
Yeah, he is knocked the fuck out. This is not like a confused and dazed kind of thing. This is my brain rattled around in my skull so hard that, and it's a double knockout really, because Ovechkin connected with a really clean right to the guy's like chin jaw area, and that just sent those vibrations up his fucking cheekbone into his goddamn skull and unconscious his ass.
Is this?
Yeah.
Then when he hit the ice, this is it, I believe. Yeah.
It
There've
is. I'm
been
just
so many
looking
suspensions
for
this playoffs.
like a good.
Oh, a
let's
good place to start?
at 111.
111. Okay.
Yeah, if you want to see the replay, yeah, good
I
call.
want to see the close up. I don't want to see it from the cheap
Yeah,
sheets.
good call.
All right.
Good call.
I'm ready at 111.
Ready, set, play.
They're not going to break as of yet.
He's going to have him beat. And I know he's got to make a decision right as
Bam,
soon
he's
as he goes
out
down.
cold.
You have to end it.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he held on to
Like what
that
he did
jersey
at the end.
until the guy
Don't
was
like
on
it
the
at
ground.
all. And that's
All right,
why
so
I don't know that
now
he
that I watched it the
drove
third time,
him.
now that I watched the third time, I don't
gonna
think he
have it
drove him.
beat.
I think if anything, he was lightening the fall because
Oh,
at this
let's
time
look.
That's what I was saying.
So instead of watching the guy's skull, which is what your eye is automatically drawn to see how hard it hits, watch Ovechkin's body. Like watch his like legs, his like lower torso, and his shoulders, and how what that's doing. It's definitely not a. Like in the UFC, they do that a lot. They'll drop a forearm on somebody, and there's this whole forward motion using all my inertia and like gravity and everything to like put a coup de grace on you. But that's not what I'm seeing here. Now that I watched it for like literally the third time, the kid just got his clock cleaned.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see enough of the game up to that point to know if it warranted a fight because Ovechkin definitely got the gloves off first. And usually you like to see a little more, both people having their gloves off before anything starts, even though he did have his gloves off by the time the punches
hey, if you want to watch it another time, this time watch the Ovechkin's teammate in the background. Watch his mouth when the knockout occurs. Watch his like. his,
Oh, yeah.
he's like, whoa!
Oh yeah.
What he did after that.
Oh, he
goes,
starts cheering.
"Whoa,"
Oh, he's
and he
fucking
starts
banging
tapping
his stick on the
like,
ground.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
if people don't know, banging your stick on the ground is like the hockey version of clapping.
Yeah.
I forgot what little English I had learned so far.
Dude.
He hit me so hard.
So I don't think Ovechkin tried to hurt him. I do think he did a thing that didn't help him. Like I can even on my screen maybe pause it. It's somewhere in like the 121 second, you can see him almost holding him so he doesn't hit the ground, like to lighten the load, but not planned. But the impact,
That's pretty.
the
that's pretty
effect
standard for
turns
hockey
out to
fights.
be that like it whips his head into the ice a little extra hard.
Yeah, his body does kind of a.
I hope he's all right because
Dusting
it
off
is
the
a
sheet
shame when
kinda
someone
thing.
that young gets. Hopefully it doesn't make him gun shy because I don't
Yeah.
know how big of a guy he is. But if he thinks this is his role to be
Dude,
an
the
enforcer,
kid's a professional hockey player from fucking Russia. I'm sure this is the first time he's been knocked unconscious.
Oh no,
okay,
Russians.
that's
no,
very fair.
I would argue
they're
that
also not
he's from
the
Russia. They're
role-
pussies. Yeah, no, they Americans and Canadians are the people who would know how.
It's
to
really
throw
the
down.
Americans who are probably the best at fighting because the Russians and the Canadians are so much better at hockey in a lot of ways. Like they were for so many years. It's kind of past that era now. I'm saying this more tongue in cheek now, but there were years where it was like Americans would just get really way too physical with Russians. Like the fucking Red Army didn't want to play the Flyers or the Blues or any other NHL
That is one of
teams.
Philadelphia's proudest moments.
Yeah, because they're like, this isn't even hockey, frankly. It's like, do you guys even know what is pass? What is score? What is shoot? We have my
Philly
God.
beat the fuck out of him. After 2 periods, the Russians are like, I don't really want to play anymore.
Well, all the forwards on our team have their fingers broken by your slash, and so I don't know what we can do.
Yeah, the Red Army came and they beat like every NHL team they played until they came to Philly. And then Philly just beat the shit out of them both on the scoreboard
They
and on
would have
the
got
ice.
really big heads if they made them play the NFL teams in hockey. They'd be like, they're even worse at this than we imagined. It looks like first time on skate.
At first glance, they were huge, but these guys can't even skate.
You know, it's a lot more belly when you get up close. Yeah.
All right. So if we're done with hockey, I
Okay.
have
Yeah.
a video that I saw today on Reddit, and it's 1 minute and 20 seconds. A wild turkey has gotten into this guy's vehicle, his semi, big rig truck. The audio's a little loud on this one, I found, so you might want to like be prepared
Yeah.
for that. But
Okay.
otherwise, this is a good watch.
All right.
All right, I'm ready.
It's a weird aspect ratio. I need a second.
It's called Turkey Broke Into My Truck.
Yeah.
Broke in. Like it wanted something in there.
A minute and a half. All right, I'm ready. Ready, set, play.
All right, I gotta try to get this turkey out of my truck.
This guy needs a stabilization. Wow, there's a turkey in the back of the truck.
Oh, stupid.
I don't know what I expected, but it somehow took me by surprise anyway.
Come on, get out. Get out. Get out. Ah.
What is a turkey's predator?
Man.
Okay, we'll try this
Man.
Is that why he made cat noises?
Yeah, it sounded like he was doing like a bobcat type thing. I
Yeah.
don't know what that was.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't do it either.
Are you suggesting that wasn't good?
I'm noting that it was.
Does he not want to touch it? It seems like he's not just reaching in there and pushing it.
Door's open. Get the fuck out.
Well, he doesn't want to hurt it.
Whoa! Oh!
Wait for it. He's like, leave the feathers.
Well, he didn't make it very far.
Well, he didn't make it very far.
He just doesn't give a
If people are watching this on audio, there's a turkey in the back of a big rig, the sleeper section. He hissed at it, he gobbled at it, eventually the turkey ran out into the highway and got smashed by passing traffic.
Immediately.
Like, those videos where like they set the wildlife free and instantly like an owl eats it?
Yeah.
That is the human equivalent of that.
And
Yes.
his truck, his big rig is parked on the side of the road. He did that thing in like superhero movies where he's like, "What are you gonna do, Dr. Strange-O?" And he's like, "Well, I'm gonna use my infinite power blast." It missed. Well, I'll never try that again. Like, he opened that one side that could have let the turkey out into the grass once for 30 seconds and was like, "Get out, get out." It's like, well, I'll just let you out into the road. There was nowhere for this turkey to go other than to fall into the road and get hit by a fucking Mazda Miata.
Is that what it really was?
It kind of
I don't
looked
know.
like
No,
its
I
own
was
little
like, what,
car.
Taylor doesn't know cars. Like,
No.
I think he would have identified one going by at 70.
I just know a Miata is a funny car,
Yeah.
right? That's like a clown car looking thing.
take
Or maybe
that.
I don't even know that much. I don't know.
let's. It looked like a Ford Focus a little bit to me. This is what matters, folks.
I don't recall what it was.
It's a good thing she was focusing on not hitting turkeys. She failed that.
No, I think it's a Ford Fusion, maybe. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this.
So I wish we could see what the front of that person's car looked like after it hit the turkey, because it took the whole thing with it, and you see the little puff and bluster of feathers right after the initial strike.
That is a Ford Fusion.
Didn't you used to sell
And
Fords?
Yeah,
Ford Fusion is now in the shop.
Kyle would know. It probably is, yeah. I don't know.
I guarantee it.
It's
guarantee
funny
it?
the second time.
Yep. That was fucking hilarious.
That is a good one.
It hit that bird so goddamn hard. So fucking hard it hit it. Just square too. It's right in the middle of the hood. Just perfect, and
Bird
it made a
was
nice
standing though. Like it might have been a bumper hit, right? I don't know.
It was like hopping. It was a little off the ground. It was you couldn't have scripted it any better. That bird got hit squarely. That was great. I really enjoyed that. Well, it didn't make it very far.
Yeah, he was not all torn up about it.
No, he didn't seem upset.
So, what other topics did we have before the show started?
Well, I think we should save Game of Thrones for
Agreed.
PKA.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Um,
Yeah, because there's a lot to say there. I'm going to rewatch it again just so I don't miss anything. Oh, this doesn't have to do with the episode. It's a friend of mine who I talk about Game of Thrones with texted me a fan theory that he saw on Reddit. And usually those fan theories seem kind of dumb or like a bit of a stretch. But this one, and I don't remember all the details specifically, but I remember the big picture of it. It seemed pretty viable. Is that okay to bring up? A little fan theory? So basically, he was saying, or the person who wrote this was like, honestly, the next big battle between the people, the free folk at Winterfell and the marching armies of the dead, the Night King isn't going to show up. He's not going to be with them because why would he bring a dragon there when he knows he could get torched by the other dragons and just immediately lose his most valuable asset? What the Night King is going to do is send his army down there, the current one, to fight. He's going to fly around and circumvent the fight. And so by the time that battle's happening, he's in King's Landing burning everything up. And the guy's rationale behind it was they've said a million different times that there are 1 million people living in King's Landing. They've made a point about how big the population is there. It also would explain the vision that Daenerys had and Bran had when Bran had his vision with his magic, and Daenerys had the vision when she was in the House of the Undying or whatever, where she saw all the ash or snow, you can't really tell in that clip where she's walking around and the throne room is burned. So I think what that is, and you see the dragon flying overhead in that clip. And I think the reason you only see the shadow of it, as this guy very astutely pointed out, is that it's the Night King's dragon, and he is making his own southern army as they're fighting what they think is the big army. And so as they beat back, because they will beat back the army of the dead there, they're going to only realize as Bronn's coming up north to tell them, because Bronn would see the dragon flying by to say, hey, we have a way bigger army and way bigger problems, and they're marching towards us right now.
Cool.
And so I thought that sounds pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Well, I want to save all that talk for the.
Yeah, I have things to say too, but
yeah, and I'm going to watch it a second time before tomorrow night.
Do you think that seems like a viable?
Yeah, that could totally happen. I mean, I think the dragon's definitely heading to King's Landing at some point, and that's going to happen. Whether or not it happens exactly like you just said or not is it could go a couple different ways. But I hope that sounds good to me. I'd be down for that.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
I want to find a new show to watch. Because I don't want to do that thing where I get to the end of a show I've been watching for 8 years and I go, well, now I don't have anything. Like, I want to have something locked and loaded.
All right, what genre? Well, first of all, what's on the horizon is a
Lord of the Rings, right?
Lord of the Rings starts filming this fall. Halo is being made by Showtime.
They start filming in the fall?
They start filming in the fall. Halo is being produced by Showtime. They've already named an actor for Master Chief, a guy who looks very square-jawed and masculine. I hope they don't show his face because that would ruin it for me. So I'm sure that's going to be something in the future that's going to be good. I want to say that, and these are upcoming shows that are in production or early production. Dune. I don't know if you've ever watched the movie Dune or if you're familiar with the series of books about Dune. It's this enormously long and convoluted and complicated space opera that involve it's like Game of Thrones in space.
Space opera?
Yeah, it's like
maybe that doesn't mean what I think it means.
It doesn't. It's a big, long, complicated,
like an epic.
Yeah, and there's multiple houses. There's like the House of Atreides, and like that each house kind of owns their own planet, and the planets are kind of at odds with each other. And there's this overruling council. And the movie Dune, which is you either love it or you hate it. It ran into a lot of production problems, but it's basically one part of the books, and it sort of focuses on this like chosen one story. This guy who becomes like the guy to beat all guys through a series of like hero journeys that he goes upon. It's the movie was I like the movie because it's like a 3-hour fucking crazy science fiction movie with Patrick Stewart when he still had hair. It's in this future, like they don't have. You might think ray guns, right? You always see like laser guns and ray guns in like future movies, but in this, they've basically mastered a personal body shield that like has like everybody's got an energy shield on, like on their belt, and it's sort of so nobody can get shot anymore. So they had to go back to edged weapons because
I like that. That's cool.
And you have to slowly go through the shield to stab the guy. You have to like basically grapple with your enemies and sort of like use jujitsu and then sort of slowly stab them or cut them because like a fast moving object is immediately deflected by the shield. But anything slow, it goes right through.
How
it.
slow are we talking? Like do old school like long bows and things?
No.
Are they back or that's still too fast? It's gotta be hand
real
to hand.
slow. Real slow.
I would hit them with a lightning bolt because that breaks all kinds of shit.
Aha! Now your surround sound is ruined.
It is.
Where will you go for relaxation after your stressful battles now? Fuck.
I want to see who's making it. It might be HBO.
They might not suck then. HBO.
Yeah.
Like, who makes good shows? That's the question, right? Does Showtime make good shows? If I hear Amazon's making something, I usually think, like Netflix. I feel like they 7 and 6 out of 10 it sometimes.
Netflix has plummeted in that way. I agree with you. We're like, even like 4 years ago when I went on Netflix and saw like Netflix original, I was like, oh, well, these don't come out very often. They put a lot of time and effort behind this. This is probably going to be good. And then now there's 10 new Netflix originals on the front page on any given day. And I've kind of come around to like, God, this kind of looks like shit. Like it just looks like trash. Like maybe slow your roll a little bit.
Netflix has totally lost my loyalty. If someone came like it used to be like they didn't have everything, but you almost felt like they did. Like, oh, I want to go see this movie. They might have it. Now that doesn't seem to be true anymore. They don't have that movie. They limited. They lost stars or something, and the amount of titles they have has been cut in half. And these numbers are from my butt, but they're about right. And now they just pimp all these originals, which are good but not great. It's
Hit or
only
miss. Some are
HBO.
garbage.
HBO has like the top 5 best miniseries ever. Would they be TV shows?
They haven't done anything
Yeah.
lately, and they only have one show right now. They have Game of Thrones, and it has 5 episodes left. On
Lately? That was like 3 days ago they did something lately. They have Game of Thrones.
What?
I think it
They've
means
got
like what
5
is
more.
running concurrently to
Yeah,
Game
they
of
have-
Thrones that's also popular.
Yeah, they've got 5 more episodes of the best show on television, and then they have nothing. I mean,
I
they
hate-
have their library. Like, I get that, but I've seen all the Sopranos. I've seen it a bunch of times. I've seen The Wire a bunch of times too. I'm talking about new HBO programming that's like,
Maybe I'll watch The Wire. Everybody says great things.
dude,
about
watch
The
the
Wire.
fucking Wire. If you haven't seen the fucking Wire, watch the Wire.
Oh
Why
my
are we talking about
God,
this? Watch the
Taylor, my
fucking Wire.
goodness, what are you even doing here?
You haven't seen The Wire? Just watch the fucking Wire. You know what? Like, PKN's called early. Where Taylor's got to go watch The Wire.
Yeah, Taylor, would you quit your job?
Functional surround sound.
Build
Yeah.
some time.
You're gonna want to take a day off of work so that you can get to season 2 and see what happens.
But like HBO has kind of like they've developed some credit with me. If you told me HBO was coming out with a new Fantasy's what they're doing now, they were coming out with a cowboy series, I'd be like, damn, I wonder if it's going to be incredible, because it might be.
There's what's the goddamn show that with the robots?
West Wing,
even
Westworld,
Even
yeah.
Westworld, I think, is going down in popularity.
Yeah, and it was never as big.
It was
as,
never a Game of Thrones.
Yeah, nothing like that. I like Westworld, but I watched the second season and I was kind of I didn't love it. I liked the first season a lot. I felt like they just kind of like there should have been like a whole season. Like the park shouldn't have started its downfall until like the end of the first season, and it shouldn't have completely fallen apart until like the middle or end of the second season. Instead, they're like, well, the park has imploded, and at the end of season 1. Season 2, well, that is the park. That is the end of the park. It's over now, and it's a full-out war, and the robots are now in the real world. And season 3, I guess, is robots in the real world. It's not even Westworld anymore. It's real world.
Now you're not even pretending to be a cowboy. And what's the
Yeah.
point?
Exactly. I like the cowboy stuff.
That was the whole thing that I liked the world more than I liked the show.
Yeah.
And so I'd be like watching the first season and being like, man, even Anthony Hopkins isn't really drawing me in. But think of how dope it would be to go be a pretend cowboy and shoot smugglers and Injuns and go, get treasure from the bandits. And it's like,
Yeah.
I couldn't take my entrepreneur hat off. Like, oh my God, they're practically encouraging people to ruin these robots. How is
but they
this
answered that.
economically viable?
Yeah, I was with you until like you got to season 2 and you figured out what the real purpose of the park was.
Go on.
I must have not got to that point.
I
Well-
didn't get to season 2.
I bailed.
Well, they are, they're capturing by having these people be in the park, all of these incredibly rich, influential, famous people, they're copying their brain, and they're able to now completely replicate that person because the hats that everybody's wearing, like in the beginning, they're like black hat or white hat. Either way, there's a sensor inside that's scanning your brain and thoughts all the time. And so that's how they were making it economically viable through like the R&D that they were getting from that, and the real long-term goal of the park. The reason that the main guy was funding it, I want to say, because it's been like a year since I've seen it, but I want to say was to make himself immortal. The idea was that they're going to copy his they're going to copy his brain waves and make a new him and put it in one of those super realistic robot bodies, and he'll never know it. And so they've been doing that experiment the whole time Westworld has been in existence in like a secret lab. It was pretty good.
I did
Like-
myself a disservice with Westworld that I do too much, which is I multitasked while watching it.
Can't do
So
that.
it's not good look, it's fine for some shows. If you want to multitask while watching the Goldbergs, knock yourself out. If you know it's a sitcom. But I should have given Westworld like the respect it deserves and given it my full attention.
Complicated plot.
Yeah. And even there were like turns that you were kind of waiting for and such when you realize that like I don't want to spoil it. Like you realize this guy's a robot, and I was like, all right, noted. Like it just didn't have the impact on me that it would if I'd given it my full attention.
Yeah, I dig it. I think it's like a strong 6.5 or maybe a 7 out of 10. But it's just not hitting it out of the park like I would like it to. It's got a great potential. It's written by the same guy that wrote Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton, I think. If you think about it, a lot of his books are about amusement parks going awry. Yeah, I think he's like a real, and just that one idea, like it almost seems like a comedy bit. I got another one. All right. Same.
This time, they're smaller lizards. They get mad.
It's a Six Flags. All right. But all of the carnies are zombies. Wait, what?
Now we're going to save money on the Six Flags by telling them it's all digital and to wear a mask, but it's a regular roller coaster park, which is actually much cheaper than the R&D for developing an entire fake roller coaster park. And they're like, oh my God, he's done it again. And at the end, there's a class action lawsuit where they're like, you put us in real danger on real roller coasters. And that's how it ends. 40 minutes of litigation.
Yeah, man. The Wire is the show.
The movie's settled like 25 minutes in, and then it's just
The Wire is definitely the show you should watch. You've seen all of what's that fucking Fargo. You've seen all of Fargo, right?
Yeah, I've seen all of Fargo. Fargo
That's
was
really
great.
strong.
Was there just
Yeah,
3
really-
seasons of that?
so far? Yeah,
I was hoping to
Yeah.
be behind.
Are they
this
making
season.
more?
I'm sure it's been such a hit, and the third season was excellent.
Every season of that show has been great.
Yeah,
Like even I think it was the Alien one.
it was
that
okay.
still was interesting, and
It was
it
a
still
little
kept
weird.
my attention. It was weird
Weird
and
twist.
silly, but it was no dumber than the what's that Quentin Tarantino movie? Where it turns out it's about vampires.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Can I
From
tell
Dusk
you?
Till Dawn, because that movie threw me for the biggest loop because I thought I knew what was happening in that
You're
movie.
so lucky. It gets spoiled, but for so many people, like whenever I recommend it, I'm like, look, From Dusk Till Dawn. I want to say it's directed by Robert Rodriguez, but it's written by Quentin Tarantino. It's got Selma Hayek dancing almost naked with a fucking anaconda. It's got Quentin Tarantino acting longer than he usually does, and it's got Harvey Keitel and George Clooney. It's a good movie. It's a crime drama, like violent movie. Don't read into it anymore. Just go watch it now. Don't look at the poster. You don't want to know what's coming. Just watch it and enjoy. Like let it happen to you.
That's how I went into it. I had no idea. Whoever I was watching it with was like, "Oh, let's watch this," and I was like, "Okay." And so it got to that point where I was like, "Man, this is an interesting movie." And then like they're in the middle of that bar, and Tarantino just got finished sucking that lady's toes.
Yeah.
And then suddenly someone's like, and they've got fangs, and I'm like, wait. Well, I was just so flabbergasted for like 5 minutes. I'm like, well, what is the movie about now? Is everything that happened up to this point thrown away? Really? None of that mattered. Now it's a vampire. Okay, well.
I enjoyed Taylor's dialogue. I have Fargo shit I have to tell you. Because I was like, I wonder if there is a season 4. It seems like it's been a while. The 4th season will star Chris Rock. Chris Rock will play the head of a crime syndicate made up of black migrants fleeing the Jim Crow South who have a contentious relationship with the Kansas City Mafia. It will be set in 1950s Kansas City, Missouri. Production is scheduled to begin in late 2019. Chris Rock,
It'll be good.
head of
That's
a
an odd
crime
choice.
syndicate
I would
in the
not
Jim
pick
Crow
him.
South?
No.
All right. Sure.
I
I'll
thought
give it a go, but you're right. Like Chris Rock is not the guy that I picture like really running shit in
Dude,
Mafia.
my
He's not
first
very intimidating.
impression
They
of
should
that
get Chris
plot line
Tucker.
was, this is clearly Wikipedia vandalism. Like, this isn't what this is about. But I can't
I
wait.
didn't expect Billy Bob Thornton to be a murderous, psychopathic hitman, and Bilbo Baggins to be fucking a hammer murdering wife killer. You know, but
Billy
they made
Bob
it.
Thornton plays that. There's a scene.
Do you think there are rules?
There's a scene where Billy Bob Thornton threatens someone, and I don't want to spoil it
cop.
for you. Yeah, but
He's got all of his scenes are great.
oh my god, it made me think that you can do that. It like
You can't
No,
do
you're not
that.
in real life. No.
I probably shouldn't try.
Look,
I
you
mean,
just go back there, get in your car, and drive away, and he's just like bang, 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 bang. Yep, he had a weapon. He actually did have a. I was gonna plant one on him, but the smart ass actually had a gun.
2 weapons. Yeah.
but
But yeah, he played that to a T. Like when he was this one, you don't even have to spoil. This was like season 1, wasn't it? This was like 3-4 years ago.
2000.
And so we can.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, like
14.
2015 or 14. So yeah, there's no spoilers on this. When he was like grabbed or nabbed by the police, and he was leaving the station after putting on his glasses and being like, "Oh well, shucks, I'm just the guy trying to live my life. I'm not entirely sure about all these things you're saying, but if I could go, I'd be much obliged. My wife is making a casserole that I love so much. He was talking like that, being weird, and then as he's leaving, he gives that little monologue to the shrimpy guy about why humans can see more colors of green than any other color. Predators. We need to be able to differentiate between predators and our surroundings." Then he just like leaves, and he's it's like just basically telling him like, "I'm a predator. Be fucking careful because you didn't see me." So
It was fucking great.
Yeah.
He has so many smart moments like that. Like he's just the smartest guy in the room every time you see him, and he's the most
worst hair
murderous.
though.
Worst hair. It's real bad. I like that in my villains though. Javier Bardem had the worst hair ever in A Country for Old Men.
It was
But
so bad.
It worked. It worked.
I need to look at his hair again. Oh yeah,
Is this your gas station?
I can show it to people.
So you married into it.
Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing.
I reckon you could say that.
That's what I'm saying. It's what happened.
Dude,
Don't put it in your pocket.
it like
What business is of yours where I'm going?
Yeah.
Well, I was just making conversation.
Heads or tails. Yeah, she's doing this little
I need to know what I stand to win or lose.
nothing and everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Fucking great. Oh, that's a great movie.
That is such a good movie. Like that spooked me in that movie when he took that cow thing in the beginning.
Woo!
He's like, stand very still. just killed that guy. And I'm like, oh, well, fuck. And
So that's the kind of man we're dealing with.
He kills the cop within 3 minutes of being arrested, and his face just the bottom teeth baring as he's on the ground. The guy's making marks with his rubber soles on that movie is so, and they have very little music playing in it.
A lot of
silence, and that builds a lot for me.
Yeah. With the landscapes and stuff. It's a Western. It's a really interesting Western. And
those Coen brothers.
I don't want to spoil anything, but Woody Harrelson plays a character who is like the peer of this badass they're talking about. Yeah. And the way that follows through is like, oh.
It's great.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. It's like, would you say he's dangerous? Compared to what? The bubonic plague?
Yeah. It's like, no, you piece of shit, like a guy who's going to murder me.
Oh, he'll do that.
Yeah. Man,
Javier Bardem is scary as fuck. I think he won an award for that. I've watched so many analyses of that movie and of the various clips because there's a lot sort of left up to the imagination, and it's a weird format for a movie. The way that Llewellyn sort of like meets his end off screen, like a very unceremonious end to what you presume to be your hero, you're the star of the show. And then, they never get the bad guy really. And then you're sort of left wondering, did he kill the guy's wife at the end? He told him, make right on this or I'll go after them too. And of course, he's that kind of bad guy that he keeps his word and he goes after her too and makes her call the coin. And I watched this whole thing breaking down, like, did he kill her or didn't he? And it's like, yeah, he absolutely killed her. And they show like several pieces of evidence to explain that, yeah, she's dead in there. He fucking killed her.
Yeah, there were a lot of layers in that movie.
Yeah, it's. I'm usually pretty honest about whether I get something or don't, and at the end of No Country for Old Men, it was like, all right, I'm going to need some help with this analysis. Yeah. Wait, I was supposed to look at the doorknob reflection? I need to see this again.
Yeah, great movie. The only Coen Brothers thing I don't like, of course, is Ballad of Buster Scruggs, but everything else they've made is fucking amazing in my opinion. Some of my favorite shit.
You guys did me the service of lowering expectations before Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and I liked it.
Garbage. The Coen Brothers, I believe they did. What's the fucking one with the dude?
Big Lebowski.
Spider-Man.
They did Big Lebowski. Oh. Spider-Man was.
There was a dude in that as well.
Oh, they did Burn After Reading, which a lot of people said was dumb. I thought that Burn After Reading was really funny.
Didn't they do Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou. That's an incredible movie. Another George Clooney movie. It's got a lot of the same actors that were in Buster Scruggs in it. And they use a lot of the same actors that there a couple of the same actors that were in No Country for Old Men are also in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is great. It's based on Homer's Odyssey, but it's set in like 1915, I don't know, maybe 1920s Alabama or in the South anyway. But it's Homer's Odyssey based there. So it's Odysseus's journey home to his wife to face off against her suitors and retake his kingdom. But it's George Clooney trying to get back and keep his wife from marrying a dentist.
They directed The Dictator.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet. That's the one where
wait.
That's the one where
they helped finance that, I guess, because it was under their list of Coen Brothers movies. That's the one where Sacha Baron Cohen is.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Pretending to be the dictator of. So was it a made-up country? I don't even remember.
No. So that's not one of Sacha Baron Cohen's movie like Borat, where he's like spoofing people. That's where he actually plays like a Saddam Hussein type character.
Yeah, he's the ruler of Wadiya. Yeah, and that's when he goes to New York and he starts like making all like the insults to the lesbians that like work there at the produce market, and he. It's a pretty funny movie.
The best part is when he's like at the very beginning, he's meeting with like his nuclear missile scientist guy, and he's like, "I've done it. I've got your nuclear missile, sir. It's 40 megatons. It has a range of 3,000 kilometers." And he's like, "Why is no more pointy on top?" He's well, sir, because of atmospheric pressures and aerodynamics, it needed to be a dome. I would like it to be pointy. Sir, changing the ballistic coefficiency of this rocket would just be detrimental to it could explode right above our country here in beautiful Wadia. Okay, I understand. Very good. And he looks at his friend and he goes, and like guards rush in and drag the scientist away to be murdered. That's it.
I would like it to be pointy. Yeah, that's at the end when he like gets with that girl and he is like, and she's like, I'm pregnant. And he's like, oh, what are you having, a boy or an abortion? And then she's like, well, I am Jewish. And he's like,
oh no.
Yes, like at the very end, he finds out his wife is Jewish and he does not care for that.
That's fucking great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a funny movie.
Oh, Notre Dame caught on fire.
Yeah, that's awful.
I don't want to. I'm sorry. I just feel like we're supposed to pretend like we care that this cathedral burnt down in a country across the Atlantic Ocean. They got plenty of pictures of that shit, right?
It's still like sad because it's
Yeah, no,
a
I
really
cared.
cool old thing.
I kept like as it was playing out, I cared, and I kept caring because I'm like, all right, it's on fire. Well, I had this thought, which seems so stupid in hindsight, but I was like, isn't that thing mostly stone? So probably just like the curtains are on fire or something. Like maybe it's just that. That's what I thought. And then like more and more is on fire, and like, oh, it turns out the whole roof is kind of like flammable shit. So that's not good.
As long as no people got hurt, you know.
The spire fell down. I think a
nobody
fireman
got
hurt.
Yeah.
Maybe he did. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want people to get hurt, but like if I look and I see that Notre Dame or whatever, however you pronounce it, is on fire, and I see that, I don't know, like an animal hospital's on fire, I'm much more concerned about the fucking animal hospital. Like,
well, maybe a real hospital, but I don't give a fuck about the animal hospital compared to Notre Dame.
What if they specialize in capuchin monkeys, and they're just in there in their little diapers,
No, monkeys are people.
like rattling those cages?
You're starting to win me over.
That's right.
I do get that it's just things, and now there's like billionaires. Like, I'll give 100 million. I'll also give 100 million, and they're gonna rebuild it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's no poor like French people who could use those hundreds of millions of dollars.
People are making that criticism. Yeah, they're like, man, they're like, it's so easy to get a billionaire to give $100 million to a building, but they're people in need of help. I don't know.
Yeah, well, those billionaires aren't going to start writing checks for, the poor of France. Or whatever.
I hear you. I don't know.
Kind of like Bill
it's Notre
Gates,
Dame. It's a big deal. I just think like the Apex
Where's the
historical
hunchback gonna
district.
live?
You're like the historical district of Apex, the town I came from, like established in 1965. Like, ooh, so this is what fire departments were like.
They started building Notre Dame
30 years before Post Malone. Like, this is not history.
No, they started building Notre Dame in like the 1100s. So I totally get the difference in scope, where it is like, I'm not French and I'm not Catholic, but if I were French or Catholic, I bet they kind of look at that as like one of
my least favorite things.
One of their main cultural hubs, where it's like, what do you think of when you think of France? Well, the Eiffel Tower and Notre Dame, mostly. And
pretty much just the Eiffel Tower, though. Really, like
those are the two big ones I think of.
You're twice as cultured as me, because I think of the Eiffel Tower, and then I guess just like the city of Paris.
It'd be a funny terrorist attack is if they straightened the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
That would be hilarious. Just an overnight construction crew comes.
They come and they straighten it, and then all the Italians are like, but it was not so much better when it was crooked.
There's just a big wedge on one side still in there.
Yeah.
So
just like a doorstop looking thing.
They have that thing propped up, at this point, like they've had for a long time, to like keep it from continuing. It's on like sandy soil. And like if they didn't do anything, it'd fall over. I'm pretty sure if they wanted to, they could straighten it out, but they're like, let's leave it the way it is. Let's just leave it like this.
Who's going to take the pictures going like this? Nobody will. Come into a straight tower. You find me a Sears Tower photo from the US. Going like this. You can't find it.
I just don't care about that cathedral, like not even a little fucking bit. I guess I'm just ignorant. But it just meant nothing.
I just
to me
think
at all.
old buildings, stuff that old, that has so much like culture and history behind it. It's just cool. It's like looking into the past. Like and it would be a shame if like we started losing things like this.
Can I talk about the Leaning Tower of Pisa for a second? Because Kyle got me super curious. As a child, I was taught that it's still leaning and that it's going to tip over and that it leans, another 2 inches every year. And I thought that was fascinating and assumed it continued to be true. But Kyle is right. In 2008, they shut it down, but like by 2008, it was announced that it's stabilized and everything is fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But as a kid, I was like, yeah, that thing leans more every year. It's so fascinating.
That's another really... I didn't know it was this old. They started construction in 1173.
I hope it falls over. I hope that's next.
You hope that's next? What other landmarks do you hate?
Stonehenge is stupid.
I hate the Liberty Bell. What? I don't know.
Now you're ripping on Philly.
Yeah, I like you got a broken bell? Like what?
They rang that bell to get Liberty out of it, and
exactly. Like, do any of us actually know the historical significance behind the Liberty Bell?
Well, it was dropped behind Patrick's Pub.
That is true. I saw that in a It's Always Sunny episode, but I'm gonna be honest. I like to think I know a little bit about American history. That's where, but I'm not really sure what the significance
I think Ben
behind
Franklin fucked a girl on it once.
That sounds right.
That sounds right. They're like,
yeah, I don't give a fuck about the Liberty Bell.
It's been binging for 5 minutes. It's not 200 o'clock.
I don't care about the Anne Frank house. They should call it like the fucking hide and seek world champion 1942 to 1944 house or something like that.
I don't know if that would have as much of a draw.
You could find see, maybe you could like hide inside the house and like some guys dressed as Nazis would try to like find you. That'd be like the most fun
it's
game
like an escape room,
dude.
Yeah,
Kyle
you turn it into an escape room.
Kyle is completely right about the Liberty Bell. So I don't know that much about the Liberty Bell, right? I don't know what the scoop is. So I look it up and they're like, well, the bell was made this, and so it couldn't have possibly be rung on July 4th, 1776. And they said that it broke while announcing the death of Chief Justice John Marshall. But that's not actually true either. And this isn't true, and that isn't true. It's just apparently a broken bell.
As far as Philly landmarks go, that statue of Rocky Balboa is more legit than the Liberty Bell.
I can't figure out why the Liberty Bell is that famous, other than the fact that they put it on a tour and built a monument around it. I've seen it. I've been there.
I don't care about that. Statue of Liberty, I'm a big fan of. I was blown away when I saw it.
You know the steps that Rocky ran up?
Yeah.
I used to live in Pennsylvania, and I would go on these rollerblading tours, where we get in the way of traffic and shit. I probably can't do it anymore, but I skated backwards down the steps that Rocky ran up on rollerblades.
Nice.
Yeah, everyone was doing it, and I was like, I did it a lot on smaller steps, but they're wider, so they're easier. And I'm like, I think I can do that, but there's a lot of people watching.
Yeah,
fuck it, I'm in.
Well, I mean, I like that embarrassment is your biggest fear, not cracking the back of your head open on one of those.
That's not how.
Well, if I do fail, I'll be unconscious or dead, so I won't even know they're laughing.
Nah.
Oh, I don't know if we talked about it. Jorge Masvidal is fighting Ben Askren next.
Yes. Did you watch him on Joe Rogan?
Yes. Masvidal does. Look, a lot of guys. So for Taylor's benefit, and anybody who's not, plugged into this MMA thing, there are fighters who talk shit just to talk shit because it's a promotion thing. Some of them think it's just, and some of them really enjoy it because it's fun and funny to them. Ben Askren's one of these guys. He does this corny boom roasted thing, where he just sort of
corny on purpose.
It's corny on purpose. Masvidal doesn't understand that. Masvidal is literally a guy who was in special education and fighting his whole life. The only thing
he understands it, he just doesn't respect it. He's not confused by the situation. He just thinks words matter and that you can't say them with it, and be like that.
This is a guy who was in special education throughout his educational career and is a street fighting thug. Literally, everything I said is a literal fact.
The street fighting thug shit, that's on YouTube. Check out Jorge Masvidal versus Ray Ray. He's badass. Yeah. He's the little one.
Yeah. So Masvidal. So and the matchup is really cool because Masvidal is this guy who's got a very strong wrestling base, but just great hands. Just demolished. Was it Darren Till? Knocked him the fuck out about a month ago, and I was shocked to see that. And he's the one, Taylor, who we watched the animated video where they were like, he's the guy who's talking about giving you like a 3-piece combo and shit
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I remember that.
Ben
With the
Askren
soda.
is the guy who takes 2 watermelons and gets them like this and crushes them both with his bare arms. Because they call him Funky Ben Askren because he's got like his own made up wrestling style that's just weird. And he's got like people
This guy
describe.
seems cool.
He's really cool. I like him a lot.
and he's smart and he's funny and he's clever and he does great on the mic.
Yeah, boom, roasted. He's like he makes me laugh, and I really want to see the fight now because Masvidal wasn't talking shit to talk shit because Masvidal literally hates that. Masvidal doesn't have he has a Twitter, but someone else runs it. Like he doesn't get into that bullshit. He's there to fight and make as much money fighting as he can, and he'll still beat you up backstage. But in the way he put it, he's like, I'd rather just beat you up backstage and have nobody see it because I don't want you to get any shine off of it. It's like,
He won't
God.
say Ben Askren's name. He does everything he can to avoid saying his name. At one point, they said it rhymes with Shen.
No, here's how stupid Masvidal is. I believe what Rogan said is true. That he's very intelligent as a fighter and at combat sports. He's probably at a genius level.
Experience too.
But they were like, he didn't want to say Ben Askren's name, so Rogan goes, "What does the guy's name rhyme with?" And then I could hear the Jeopardy music in my head. No, 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 no. He literally couldn't rhyme a word with Ben. And Jamie has to go, Sven Hakren. And Rogan's, because Rogan didn't know who
He
he's fighting
forgot
next.
that they had a fight assigned.
What does it rhyme with? Like that's like the biggest Streisand effect thing, or just say your opponent's name. Like,
Yeah, you're right.
You just look like a fool otherwise.
Dude, Jorge Rivera has this code, and Kyle's mentioned it with regards to like no trash talk. But there's more. There's like, don't talk about like if you and I trained and I won or lost against you in the gym. That's in the gym. That's not an accomplishment for me or a defeat. Like that's just training. Don't go out and brag about it like you beat me at something. And Ben Askren violates that code all the time. He'll tell you like how he stack ranks against people in private. And he just doesn't like everything about Ben Askren, and I'm enjoying
the hatred, the legitimate hatred that he seems to have for him.
He asked Jorge Rivera to name another fighter that he hated as much as Ben Askren, or even another fighter he really hated going
It's
into it.
Masvidal, right?
What am I saying?
Jorge Masvidal? You're saying
Yeah, Masvidal.
Jorge Rivera.
Oh, my mistake. It is definitely Masvidal. And Rivera's an older fighter. Anyway. He's never hated a guy like this before. These guys are oil and water, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I like that. Is there an event this weekend? Isn't this the one with Holly Holm and Amanda Nunez? Maybe.
Is it so soon?
I don't fucking know. Honestly, I know it's coming up, and so is Saturday.
Overeem is on the next card, and April 20th. Yeah. So you're right. There's an event this weekend, but
It's one of the lame ones.
Yeah, it's a fight night.
Well, at least I don't have to pay for it.
Yeah. Actually, outside of the top of the card, I only know one other fighter on this whole thing, Roxanne Modafferi. That's because I met her.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that time I went to go to
Joe's.
Japan with Joe's thing.
Yep.
She's like real, like a. There are some people who are just like enthusiasts of Japan who think Japan is like the neatest thing and want to know more about its culture and be more Japan. And she's like that. So she took us out to like restaurants you wouldn't normally go to and meet things and gave us a tour.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's an hour, but we've got a lot to talk about with the Game of Thrones stuff on
Yeah,
PKA.
I'm glad we didn't burn that. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I look
yeah.
forward to your takes on it, but I'll say no more.
Yeah. You know, not. I feel like all I'll say is I feel like they were setting the table. You know, not. There wasn't a lot of. There wasn't a lot of meat and potatoes out there, but the table was set. And I'm okay with that.
I agree, And here we are talking about it. Because when you said there's a lot to talk about, I'm like, really? It was just an hour of characters learning shit I knew. But we'll save it for the show.
Pieces around the board.
All right. PKN 243, I think.